And that leads us to the central question here. Why on earth would a tech giant spend that kind of fortune on an invention from a guy who never even finished high school?
All right, let's get right into it. We're about to unpack the incredible story of an unconventional genius, a piece of technology that's completely changing the game, and a deal so huge it basically reshaped the entire world of artificial intelligence. Okay, let's just start with a number. $20 billion. Yeah, you heard that right. That is the price that NVIDIA, the absolute king of AI chips, paid for the technology we're going to talk about. It was the single largest deal in the company's entire 32-year history.
And that leads us to the central question here. Why on earth would a tech giant spend that kind of fortune on an invention from a guy who never even finished high school? Well, to answer that, we have to go back to the beginning.
So our story really has two key players, Jonathan Ross, the Dropout, and Google, the giant where he first really made his mark.
From the very start, Ross was just different. I mean, he actually dropped out of high school because he was bored. He looked at the conventional path everyone else was on and just said, nope, not for me.
But look, don't mistake a lack of diplomas for a lack of brain power. After leaving high school, Ross somehow lands in NYU's super prestigious honors program, and then he dropped out of that too. But his talent was so obvious that while he was there, he became the first undergraduate ever to be allowed into the PhD-only computer science courses. And get this, he was studying under the legendary Jan LeCun, who would go on to win a Turing Award.
Okay, so let's jump to the next chapter, his time at Google. This is where Ross's habit of looking at problems differently led to his first invention that just shook up the entire industry.
So, it's 2011, and Ross is a software engineer at Google. One day, he just overhears the speech recognition team complaining that they don't have enough computing power. Now, most people would just ignore that, right? Not Ross. He took action. Using Google's famous 20% time, he started working on a custom chip. In just 15 months, which is an insanely short amount of time in the hardware world, he and his team designed, built, and deployed what became known as the Tensor Processing Unit, or TPU.
And the impact was just staggering. The TPU he created ended up powering more than half of all of Google's entire compute infrastructure. I mean, let that sink in for a second. From one single conversation he overheard to powering the backbone of Google Search, YouTube, and Google Photos.
Ross himself later called the whole project a successful disaster. Why? Well, probably because of all the internal corporate politics you get when you create something so disruptive inside a huge company. But, despite that friction, he had proven a really critical point. For specific AI jobs, custom-built chips could just blow general-purpose ones out of the water.